Hello guys, so welcome to my short video about E38 740i. This has the non-vanos engine, it's a 97. I'm gonna show you a couple things that I did to make it last longer. At this point the car was running fine and it still has the original timing chain. You can clearly tell this by looking at the chain. Right, it's a little bit, there's like scuff marks on it, so you can actually tell that it's the original chain. How did I achieve that? The car has like 270,000 kilometers at this point on the clock, but it can be higher. I don't know the history of the car. So what did I did when I bought the car? I bought the car at 250, so I did 20k, and the timing chain was rattling really bad, so I got a good deal on it. I didn't do the chains. I'm gonna do them right now because I have the time and space for it. So first thing I did was the cold thermostat. As you can see here, I have a sandwich adapter right here. I deleted the original thermostat and used the eBay kit, and right now I'm running 80 Celsius thermostat. The original car has 107 Celsius and it causes huge temperature issue underneath the hood. You can see it clearly. All this insulation is really thick. It's like plastic, right? It should be rubber, and it just falls apart. You can see it here also, because the whole temperature underneath the hood rises significantly. Next step, I removed the viscous fan coupling. I removed it and I used electric fan. It's some kind of a spal fan. I replaced the radiator, of course, as a maintenance thing. Put the biggest fan I could fit. I used some rails, like you can see here, aluminum mounts right on the radiator here. Use a spacer, space out the fan a little bit, and the car was working fine. There was no overheating issues. I had to do that in addition to the thermostat because the viscous fan was made to work at 107, so it was engaging 107. So even if I replaced the thermostat, the car was still heating up, so I had to put the electric fan in. I use the temperature sensor. See, there's an external temperature sensor and a thermostat that I have installed in the car, and I run completely different wiring harness. You can see it here. See right here. To the fan, completely separate circuit. Right inside. I'm gonna show you my setup here. Right, so I can turn on and off the fan manually. I can also set the temperature here. And I also have the reading, and I also have the LPG right there hidden in the car. So yeah, another very important thing is that the timing chain tensioner on these cars was bad from the factory. The BMW later on, they changed the design for the tensioner. It is right here somewhere. Yeah, it's pretty oily because I have the valve cover leaking. And one of the first things that I did, besides the thermostat, was to replace the upgraded with the upgraded part. I'm gonna show you it on the picture how it looks like. The spring is different, the design is different, and I also bought the INA chain, timing chain, I believe, or OEM timing chain. Another thing that I did to make this car run good, water pump. I don't know about the aftermarket water pumps. I had bad stories about it, but I used OEM. It was about 200 euro at the time I was installing it. I was using the car for the last 4 years with no issues. So another thing I did is to I had all consumption that I didn't expect from the car. So I thought that it could be an issue with the crankcase valve. And the car has two-piece crankcase valve. One piece is right here on the back of the intake manifold, so it's right there in the back, and the other piece is right here behind this cover, behind the timing chain. I'm gonna show you later how it looks like when I'm gonna do the valves, the timing chain guides. Okay, so therefore I run this hose, standard hose, cooling water hose, and another one from the other section, because there's a pipe that comes in and out and connects the two pieces together. So I replaced it with two rubber hoses, and I used this is X5 external oil separator, and it was working fine, really. And I was just dumping the water and the excess oil on the ground, just for the time being, and the car was running just fine. So that's another thing to notice about this. What else? Here you can see the details of the installation of the external oil separator. See, one pipe goes from here, goes to the end. Now the other one is plugged in here, goes outside all the way, goes in here. Originally there's a metal pipe connecting those two elements, so it's not here anymore. We have something like this, just not to keep the original timing chain running, because I didn't want to disconnect everything and then dealing with the extra leaks and all that stuff. And obviously at this point I'm doing the change, so I'm gonna do this properly. I'm gonna replace the oil separator that goes in here. That's another piece of this crankcase ventilation system right here. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. Other really important thing are the intake gaskets. You need to replace all the gaskets underneath the intake. It's very important for the car to have the proper air to fuel ratio. It can cause lots of those issues. And my trick that I'm also doing, and of course it's not my idea, I stole it from the internet, is that I put additional washers right here underneath the screws, the bolts of the intake. See, therefore I can put more pressure on the intake itself, of course torquing it down properly, but the rubber boots that go inside, they tend to rot, the rubber shrinks, and you cannot put enough pressure on the intake in order to keep it secure, keep it tight. This is how the washers look like for the intake. You can see the rubber piece. It's really old, so if you don't want to replace it, you can use the washer. You will not crack it, because this piece will prevent you from over torquing it, but you will make sure that this whole piece goes all the way to the bottom and sits exactly as it should. Yeah, so basically that sums up my short video about my 740i. If you are interested in the mods themselves, let me know. I'm gonna try to explain them in detail, but they're pretty self-explanatory. If you know anything about mechanics, you will be really good to do it by yourself, right? Yeah, so finally I'm doing the chains. It should be easy, should be fun. Alright guys, so see you in the next video with my iterate with M62 B44 engine.